Welcome to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch. This is going to be a full playthrough. It's probably going to be about 18 or 19 videos long. Each video will be about a little over 2 hours. I'll try to make about 2 hours, but not less than 2 hours. So they're usually about 2 hours to 2 hours and 10 minutes. Kind of wherever I'm at a good stopping point. Anyway, I've already done a full playthrough on this game, on this channel. This is actually my 33rd total playthrough. That most of them I recorded, and this is probably a few times now I've done it on this channel, but every time I play I discover something new. So there's an extended ending if you complete something, so that's why I'm doing this again. But this game is so epic that it's hard to just sit down and explain, so I'm gonna go just make it easier by doing the full playthrough and explain it as I go, because there is just so much they put into this. This game was released March 3rd, 2017, and it ended up winning Game of the Year.
Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Wake up, Link.
So the story goes that 100 years ago, Link, Zelda, and 4 champions were fighting Ganon. The 4 champions were killed, but their spirits are trapped inside these things called the Divine Beast. And Link was badly wounded, so he's put into a slumber of restoration. Now Zelda is trapped with Ganon inside the castle. So Link lost all of his memories over the last 100 years, but he will regain those throughout the game.
That is a Sheikah slate. Take it. It will help guide you after your long slumber.
And even though Zelda is trapped with Ganon, she can still talk to him. I guess telepathically. So the Sheikah slate is like a tool that can be used for a lot of things. It's kind of like today's cell phones. You can do just about anything on them. Okay, the number we see there, when you go to your inventory, the 1. Okay, now when you look down at the bottom right hand corner, it shows a 0 and a 1. The 0 is the strength of his current defensive clothing, which is 0 right now because he's not wearing any clothes other than his undies. The 1 is the strength of the pants, or the strength that you'll be if you put those pants on. So I put those on. Now my strength is a 1. Same with the shirt. My current shirt is 0 because I'm not wearing one, and the 1 is the strength of the shirt. So now it shows 1 and a 2. The 1 is the current strength of my clothing. 2 is what my strength will be if I put the shirt on. So there, my defense is up to a level 2 now.
Hold the Sheikah slate up to the pedestal. That will show you the way. Link, you are the light. Our light. That must shine upon Hyrule once again. Now go.
Okay, now you notice up here when climbing, you see that green wheel? That's the stamina. That wheel should run out while, like, it goes down when climbing, running, swimming. If it runs out while running, he'll have to stop to catch his breath. If it runs out while climbing, you'll end up dropping. And if it runs out while swimming, you'll go under. You won't necessarily die, but you'll lose a heart, and they'll put you back to where you started swimming from. Now when I get to the top of these steps, the game's going to take control of my character to show a short intro. That's an old man who I'll be talking to at the beginning of the game. He'll kind of guide me. Everything you see here, that castle, the volcano, those mountains, everything can be reached. It's not just background. Everything here can be reached, and at some point in the game we will be reaching pretty much everything. This is a tree branch which will be used for our first weapon. Early in the game you get some primitive weapons, shields, and stuff like that. There's a lot of food. You want to collect pretty much anything you can, because if you can't eat it or use it as a weapon or a shield, you can usually sell it. I got 2 weapons. So you can hold up to 8 weapons right there. And as far as armor or clothing, I'm not really sure if there's a limit. The reason why they have room for so many weapons is because they break after using them. The weaker they are, the easier they are to break. This is one of my first complaints about the game, is all the reading you have to do. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite games, tied with Super Mario Bros. 3, but despite that, that doesn't mean I won't be complaining about it, because every game has its flaws, and I think that's one of them, is all the text you have to read. I mean, that was okay for like 1988, but 2017, you shouldn't have to do all that reading. Yeah, you can pick up these little rocks and sometimes find stuff under them. Oh, there's our first enemy. That was a bokoblin.
Link. Head for the point marked on the map in your Sheikah slate.
Okay, so Zelda wants me to head for the mark on my Sheikah slate, which is up there, but first, there's some other stuff I want to do, or other stuff I want to get. See, this club is stronger than the tree branch. Strength is a 4. These are guardians here, decayed guardians. There are some in the game that are active, and some that aren't. The ones that are active you want to stay away from, because they will lock a red pointer beam on you, and you have just a matter of seconds to get out of there before they shoot a laser beam. And at this point in the game, that laser beam will destroy you in one shot. Okay, the Hylian trousers. Now my current pants strength is a 1. These Hylian trousers strength is a 3. So if I put those on, my defense will go from a 2 to a 4. There, now I got twice the strength that I just had. There's so much to explore in this game, so much stuff to do, and you know, there's so much terrain in the game. There's like this grassy plateau region. You've got like jungles. You've got snowy mountains. There's a desert. You don't want to drop too far from high places, but you can slide without taking damage. I've done playthroughs and videos on this game so many times that I kind of have a strategy to how I'm going to do it. Okay, so that was a side hop move. To do that, what you want to do is press the shield button, even though I didn't have a shield at that time, and you just have to time it right when he's jumping. You jump to the side, and they'll do the slow motion thing. You can also do that with backflips. There's shield parries, which we'll learn more about as we get further into the game. I got my first bow. So as we get further into the game, we'll get better weapons, better bows, better shields. And a lot of arrows. Okay, here's where Zelda was telling me to go to. So that's the Great Plateau Tower. And that's the region I'm in right now, the Great Plateau region.
Try to remember. You have been asleep for the past 100 years. The beast. When the beast regains its true power, this world will face its end. Now then, you must hurry, Link. Before it's too late.
Okay, that's kind of a lie. You don't really have to hurry. You can go ahead and take your time and explore. There's really no time limit to do all this. And then we get these quests, like that one follows Sheikah Slate. Okay, so anyways, let's go back to the map. So this is the region I'm in right now, the Great Plateau region. When you zoom out of the map, you notice there are 15 total regions. Each region has its own tower. To unlock that piece of the map, I have to climb that tower and activate the pedestal on it. But not all the towers are easy to climb. Some of them have obstacles around them that you have to get past. So that's one thing we'll be doing throughout the game. Now we gotta climb down. You don't want to drop all the way to the bottom, so you want to try doing step by step. See, right now I'm stuck on this great plateau region. If I were to try climbing down the wall, I'd end up running out of stamina halfway down and drop to my death. Well, I guess it wouldn't be death, but I'd drop, lose a heart, and they'd put me back up there. Now, if you're down to your last heart and you do that, then you die. The first time I played this game, I died dozens of times, but now I can get through the whole game without dying, as long as I don't make a stupid mistake. So, throughout this first video, I'll be in this region, doing stuff here before I can leave. So the structure he's talking about is a shrine. Those shrines have puzzles in them where you solve them and you get a spirit orb. There's 120 shrines in the game. I usually never get all 120 of them. The most I get is 104 of them. I've actually got my 105th yesterday, but usually when I get to 104, I just feel at that time I'm ready to go after Ganon. I just never really attempt to go after the other ones that I haven't gotten yet. At some point I want to do that though. Yeah, if you hit him in the head, it does more damage. That bokoblin walked right. That one bokoblin walked right into the fire. Oh, I wanted his shield, but it burnt. That's the problem with wooden weapons is they catch fire, they'll turn into ash. So you get metal weapons, you get wooden weapons, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. The metal weapons, for example, sometimes you might be in a thunderstorm where you got lightning and you're at risk of getting struck by lightning, so you have to put those away. So I'm going to show like what cooking is about here now. You got Hylian Shroom, you see it fills half a heart. So I'm going to hold 2 of them. So if one fills half a heart, 2 would fill a full heart. But if you cook them, it doubles its strength, so that'll fill 2 hearts. And you can check the meal's ingredients. Go to recipe, and I'll show what it's made out of. Oh, by the way, I guess I should have mentioned that at these enemy camps that have the treasure chest, when you kill all the enemies, that's when the treasure chest opens. And you got these wooden crates here. Break them open, you often get stuff like apples, acorns, arrows. But the axe is just like any weapon. It can eventually break after being used too many times. Now we're going to have to head over to the shrine. There's a water there, so I'm just going to go around it. So there's 4 shrines in this region right here. And each shrine has a tool which they call runes, and it will add those runes to your Sheikah slate, and you can use those throughout the game. See, the first shrine takes a lot longer than normal. They usually don't say access granted and all that. It's kind of cool, the loading screen here, how it's got tips. Okay, so the first rune we're going to be getting is called Magnesis. And you can use that to pick up metal objects. So this whole shrine is going to be a Magnesis trial where we learn how to use it. So this is how you use it. You move it back and forth, right and left, to drop it. You don't want these blocks to fall on you because it will do damage. Right out there is a Guardian Scout. So you can hit him with that thing too. There are many different Guardians in the game. There's Guardian Scouts, which aren't that bad. And you've got Decayed Guardians, you've got Guardian Stalkers, you've got Flying Guardians. Some of those are kind of deadly. We'll be kind of further into the game before we are strong enough to fight some of those. Every shrine's got at least one treasure chest. Some have multiple. Some are metal. Others are wood. Okay, I usually just skip through this ending part. we got a spirit orb. That's what that shows right there, the one spirit orb. We got one shrine that we beat. Got 3 heart containers, 1 stamina wheel. Eventually when you get 4 spirit orbs, you can trade them in for another heart container or another part of a stamina wheel. See, every time you climb a tower or unlock a shrine, it becomes a travel gate on your map where you can instantly travel to it. So you just click on it, go to travel. So at the beginning of the game you still have to do a lot of exploring, but it's kind of cool that after you've already explored that area you can just skip to it and back, so you don't, it saves a lot of time from running around. Okay, so what we're going to do here is look through our scope, place pins on the shrines we see. There's another one over here. And those are the other 3 shrines on the map, or I should say in this region. And when you look at the map here, it shows the 3 pins. Right now I'm going to travel back to the last shrine that I was at. There's nothing in that one because I already busted it open and took the goodies out of it. A lot of these metal crates have items in them. Those didn't have much in them. So the opal I could sell for rupees. amber I can also sell. Rupees are your currency in this game. You can go fishing if you want. You can pick those fish up and eat them. The game does transition from day to night throughout the game, but I feel that the game kind of ruined nighttime because at between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. they have skeletons that pop up out of the ground, and they're really annoying. I think they overdid it with those. They should have just done it maybe in like specific areas. I mean, they put a lot of effort into making the game look cool at nighttime, but then no one's going to want to travel at night because of monsters. So what you could do is skip through the night by sitting by a fire. If you notice down in the bottom right hand corner, it's got your time, 7:05 p.m. It goes to 7:10 p.m. Like every few seconds it changes another 5 minutes. You can pass time by the fire, sit until morning. Every time you get near a tower, you'll hear that music there. The game does have some pretty good music in it, for the most part. I wish it would have played the original Zelda theme a little more often. There's very few times you hear different variations of it. Okay, we got some decayed guardians here. Now, there are a couple active ones here. We want to stay away from, like, that one right there. That's an active one. If you get too close, it'll turn on and block its beam on you, so you want to stay back. Eventually, at some point in the game, we're going to have a lot of hard containers. We're going to have pretty strong armor and all that, and we'll feel safe to fight the tougher enemies. Okay, so I mentioned the 4 champions are trapped inside these divine beasts. What these divine beasts are giant machines that they have discovered that were created like thousands of years ago. And they were going to use these to fight Ganon, but Ganon took over the divine beast and turned them against him. So now those champions that were helping Link and Zelda fight Ganon, they died, but their spirits are trapped inside the divine beast. So at some point in the game, I'm going to have to free all 4 divine beasts and the spirits of the champions. That's something I won't be doing like all at once. I'll do each divine beast individually. Take some time to get those. Okay, so now we got bombs, and unlike the original Zelda game from the NES, You don't have to buy your bombs, you got an unlimited supply. Speaking of the original Zelda game, I was just playing that yesterday. See, and then you see that those lines going in a circle there? That's how long you have to wait for your bombs to recharge. You can only use like one round bomb at a time, or one square bomb at a time. Or you can use one round bomb and one square bomb at one time. You can use two bombs at one time, but they can't be two round ones or two square ones. Okay, here I'm going to switch to my square bomb because I don't want it to roll off the thing. I'm going to set this right on the edge. Okay, the reason that orb is shooting back and forth, I think, is to demonstrate that you can shoot round objects on those. Like a round bomb, for example. Two spirit orbs. As I said, every time you get 4 spirit orbs, you can get either a heart container or a stamina vessel. Now, usually early on in the game, I'll get heart containers first until I get up to 7 of them, and then after that, I'll start getting stamina vessels. And one stamina vessel is like 20% of a full stamina wheel, so it takes 5 stamina vessels to create another wheel. And that's all I usually get is one more wheel. Okay, now this Decayed Guardian becomes active like right away. So you want to run before it can shoot at you. It's like just a matter of seconds, like, before it'll actually shoot. I mean, I could try a shield parry. If my shield parry is successful, it would work. What a shield parry is, you put your shield up, and when he fires, you press the A button, and if you do it at perfect timing, it'll deflect this beam right back. But if I fail, the beam will hit me and kill me in one shot. I like to make it through a full playthrough without dying, so I usually don't like to take that risk at this point in the game. No matter how many times I play this game, I seem to learn something new. Okay, there were some bokoblins back. Oh, there they are. I got right past them without even noticing them. Yeah, if you get attacked by bees, you can just do that. Okay, you can't carry any more bows. I already showed that you can carry 8 weapons, which I got 8 of them. You don't carry up to 5 bows. You can carry up to 4 shields. Eventually throughout the game though, you can expand how many weapons, shields, and bows you can hold. Probably won't be till next video though before I can do that. Up here we got a cabin. Mushrooms. Not only do these foods fill you up your hearts when you need to, but some of them have special effects, which I will demonstrate in a minute here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this axe and replace it with a new one because this one I have here is used. Actually, you know what? No. Let's get rid of this tree branch. You can throw them or drop them. So I'll show what kind of special effects I'm talking about here in a minute. Okay, so if you cook a couple stem mushrooms, cook 3 of them. Okay, that was a special one. Usually, every once in a while, they'll cook up special. But normally it would fill up 2 heart containers and like just a partial of a stamina wheel, but that one fills up a full stamina wheel plus a little bit of an extra one. I'll go ahead and cook a couple more of these. Now the coarser bee honey also works for stamina. So, if you're climbing and you're almost out of stamina, you don't have enough stamina to reach the top, you can eat one of these meals in mid-climb and it'll refill your stamina. And then the spicy peppers. It fills up 2 heart containers and gives you 5 minutes of low-level cold resistance. So there's some areas in the game that are snowy and cold, and if it's anywhere between 16 and 32 degrees, you're going to need at least a low-level cold resistance. If the temperature is 15 degrees or less, you're going to need 2 levels. You'll need at least a mid-level cold resistance. But before we get to any area that needs a mid-level cold resistance, we'll have protective gear. But this is good for a temporary fix. And you can also get cold resistant clothing later on in the game. go over here and throw a bomb at this. Get some bomb arrows. Now these bomb arrows explode on impact, so you don't want to be close to them when using them. Also, you don't find them that often, so you don't want to really waste them. If you want to get them, you can buy them, but they're pretty expensive. I'm going to get rid of one of my vocal clips for the spear. I always like to have at least one spear in case you're fighting an enemy that has a spear. It's easier to reach him. And the only other person you'll see in the Great Plateau region is the old man. That right there is a Korok leaf. The only thing those are really good for is creating gusts of wind, so if you're on a raft and you want to go rafting, they can be kind of helpful. That was a shield parry. And when you shield parry, it stuns them. Anytime you see a group of rocks that look like a bunch of turds, it's usually breakable. And we got some fire arrows. I don't think I really need to explain what they do. They start a fire. Okay, now what we want to do is climb up that rock to get to our next shrine. This is a good place to climb because it's got all these little resting spots right here. So we can climb up to each one of these little plateaus, I guess you might want to call them, and let our stamina recharge. This is a spot where I died one time. I don't know how I managed to miss my footing and drop all the way to the bottom. See, if you're careful, you can get through the game without dying, no problem. If it's your first playthrough, then I wouldn't recommend, I wouldn't even get your hopes up on trying, because in my first playthrough I died dozens of times. But it takes practice, like learning how to fight, stuff like that. Not taking any unnecessary risks. Sometimes when you're fighting some enemies, you realize, I mean, they'll take like one swing at you and take like out half your heart, so you realize that you're no match for them. In cases like that, you're better off just to run. There's a lot of climbing in this game. That's where my biggest complaint comes in, is it rains a lot in this game too. Not so much in the when you first start out in the Great Plateau region. You really don't see any rain. but after leaving this area you start seeing rain all the time. And it's like when it's raining you can't climb. It's like, you think, being Nintendo, you think they would have thought about that, you know, like, let's create something so they can overcome the rain. Otherwise you just have to sit there and do nothing and wait. And that's totally not Nintendo. That's something you'd expect to see in an old NES game published by LJN. Nintendo will give you challenges, but they usually give you something to overcome those challenges. And I think they actually did have an idea to overcome the challenge of climbing in the rain with clothing called the climbing gear. But I think Nintendo accidentally forgot to make it slip resistance. Because even in the description when you get it, it'll say no slip toes and no slip gloves, yet they still slide. I'll be able to show it in more detail when we get it, but I think that was a mistake made by Nintendo. Okay, here we got stasis. You can use stasis on certain objects to freeze them, such as this wheel right here. And eventually it will run out. And this is what I hate. You have to wait for that stasis wheel to recharge before you can use it again. I mean, why did they do that? I mean, I can understand with the bombs, so you're not using too many bombs at once, like in fights and that. But with stasis, that just doesn't make any sense to me. That big ball keeps respawning right there, so you want to watch out. Okay, here's something else you can do with stasis. If you got an object in your way, you want to move it. You put it in stasis. Keep hitting it. The more you hit it, the further it'll fly. I intentionally kept hitting it to break until my club broke, just so I could pick up that sledgehammer. The sledgehammer kind of handy. Now I can only do one video per day because of just time restraints. I mean, it takes me, I'm doing 2-hour videos and I'm recording it off the Switch's portable unit. So after recording off this for like 2 hours, it takes 2 hours for it to recharge. So if I were to do 2 videos in one day, that would be like 6 hours of time I would need. Here are the annoying monsters I was talking about. Okay, so anyways, I need 6 hours of free time to do it, and I do not have that kind of time. I might have time to do 2 videos on a weekend. If I get an early enough start. I get off work at 3 o'clock on the weekdays, so it doesn't really give me a whole lot of time. I want to drop my Bokobo for travelers though. Pretty soon it's going to be getting cold. You can check your temperature if you go to your map screen. Look in the bottom left hand corner, it's got the time and it's got the temperature underneath it, 56 degrees. Alright there, the temperature got cold. Dropped down to 24 degrees in just a matter of like 30 feet. But I'm not going to use my cold resistance until I get down to 2 hearts. Because if you notice, it fills up 2 hearts plus gives you 5 minutes, so I'll wait till my hearts get down to 2 hearts. That'll buy me a little bit more time. This is what happens in the cold region if you don't have protection. You'll slowly start losing hearts. There, now I got 5 minutes low level cold resistance. Those guys get so annoying. It's like a Castlevania game or something. I mean, you wouldn't expect to see those in a Zelda game that often. Why does he climbing? It looks like he's laying on the ground and crawling. Climb up here, you run into the old man. There, now I got a warm doublet I can wear to protect me for... that works for low level cold resistance. And before I go to the shrine, I'm going to go down here. See that circle there that looks kind of weird? You notice there's a rock missing from that circle, so you head in that direction of the missing rock. And you find one. So you put it in its place. Korok seed. So anytime you see something out of place, like these rocks, this rock structure or anything else, and you put it back into place, you're most likely going to get a Korok seed. Now, that's what I was talking about earlier in the game, that you'll be able to expand your weapon stash, bow stash, and shield stash. Eventually, in the next video, I'll be running into Hestu, and when I trade him Korok seeds, he'll expand those stashes for me. Now, throughout the whole game, there are a total of 900 Korok seeds. The most I've ever gotten was maybe 55 or something in one playthrough. But I seem to find another one, at least one, if not 2 or 3, every time I do another playthrough. This is the last shrine in this region. By the way, today is September 22nd, 2019. Tomorrow, September 23rd, is Nintendo's 130th birthday. The Nintendo company was originally founded September 23rd, 1889 as a playing card company by Fusajiro Yamauchi. By the time they got into video games, it was Fusajiro Yamauchi's great-grandson, Hiroshi Yamauchi, that was president. It remained in the family for 4 generations. It wasn't until 2002 when Hiroshi Yamauchi made Satoru Iwata president. Satoru Iwata just died though 4 years ago from cancer, and now it seems like the company keeps going through different presidents. Cryonis, I'll show what that does. This one creates ice blocks out of water. Anytime you got water, you can do that. You can only have 3 ice blocks created at a time though. If you create a 4th ice block, the first one will crumble. Oh, I thought I was over far enough where he wouldn't be able to reach me. Like that. Oh, that's the damage. See, that's what I was talking about earlier about doing careless things. I was lucky that didn't kill me. Okay, my cold resistance is running out. I'm safe inside the shrine, but when I get outside of the shrine, I'm going to want to have my warm doublet on. I'll go ahead and put it on right now just so I don't forget. See, that's usually how I do die. If I do die, it's usually something stupid and careless. treasure chest right there, but I'm not going to get that because it's got a spear in it, which is weaker than the one I got. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and show something too on the map here. Now, when you see, take a look at these shrines, you see a treasure chest next to them. That means I've gotten every treasure in that shrine. That's why this one, you don't see the treasure chest next to it, because I didn't get that treasure there. But if that's one of your goals, to get every treasure in a shrine, you can check while you're still inside the shrine and see if that treasure chest is next to the name. If not, then you know you got another treasure chest to get. I was probably like a dozen playthroughs into the... I probably done over a dozen playthroughs before I knew about that. I got my 4 spirit orbs, so the old man is going to drop by and call me a hoe like he usually does. It's always got to be so cryptic. Can't make anything easy. So in other words, where the lines intersect, it's right here in the temple. Oh, that didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Okay, now to get back to the temple of time, I'm going to go to the Shrine of Resurrection where I started out. Walk from there. And then I'll come back to this point and continue exploring. Yeah, my very first playthrough, I ended up falling off this cliff, like walked right off the back of it and died. And just like, probably a couple minutes into the game, something. Maybe a monster or something, but maybe not. So you can get these ancient parts. Now you can sell most of these, which I did my first playthrough, but then I found out there's actually this armor you can get called the Ancient Armor, where you can actually use the parts to upgrade it and to buy it. So I like to save my ancient parts. Okay, my Velcro club is damaged, so I'm going to throw it and replace it with this one. That was a backflip, by the way. See, if you time it just right, it'll give you that slow motion option. There's one place you can get your heart container. Or a stamina vessel, but as I mentioned in the beginning of the game, I always go for heart containers. Okay, now the old man's going to call me a hoe once again.
Ho!
Most heart containers you can have is 30. Maybe long in the game though before. I've never actually had 30. The most I've had is 28. Because as I mentioned earlier, I don't get all 120 shrines. Every time you free a divine beast, you also get a free heart container out of them. And I also get 5 stamina vessels throughout my playthrough for a full stamina wheel. Now we're actually going to get to hear a story from the king, or the old man, who we're going to find out is the king. But at least we don't have to read it, we actually get to hear it.
Well done there, young one. Now then, the time has come to show you who I truly am. I was King Rome Bosphoramus Hyrule. I was the last leader of Hyrule, a kingdom which no longer exists. The Great Calamity was merciless. It devastated everything in its path. Lo, a century ago. It was then that my life was taken away from me. And since that time, here I have remained in spirit form. I did not think it wise to overwhelm you while your memory was still fragile. So rather than that, I thought it best to assume a temporary form. Forgive me. now ready. Ready to hear what happened 100 years ago. To know Calamity Ganon's true form, one must know the story from an age long past. The Demon King was born into this kingdom, but his transformation into malice created the horror you see now. Stories of Ganon were passed from generation to generation in the form of legends and fairy tales. But there was also a prophecy. The signs of a resurrection of Calamity Ganon are clear, and the power to oppose it lies dormant beneath the ground. We decided to heed the prophecy and began excavating large areas of land. It wasn't long before we discovered several ancient relics made by the hands of our distant ancestors. These relics, the divine beasts, were giant machines piloted by warriors. We also found the Guardians, an army of mechanical soldiers who fought autonomously. This coincided with ancient legends, oft repeated throughout our land. We also learned of a princess with a sacred power, and her appointed knight, chosen by the sword that seals the darkness. It was they who sealed Ganon away using the power of these ancient relics. 100 years ago, there was a princess set to inherit a sacred power and a skilled knight at her side. It was clear that we must follow our ancestors' path. We selected 4 skilled individuals from across Hyrule and tasked them with the duty of piloting the divine beasts. With the princess as their commander, we dubbed these pilots champions, a name that would solidify their unique bond. The princess, her appointed knight, and the rest of the champions were on the brink of sealing away Ganon. But nay. Ganon was cunning, and he responded with a plan beyond our imagining. From deep below Hyrule Castle, seized control of the Guardians and the divine beasts, turned them against us. The champions lost their lives, those residing in the castle as well. The appointed knight bravely collapsed while defending the princess. And thus, the kingdom of Hyrule was devastated absolutely by Calamity Ganon. However, the princess survived to face Ganon alone.
Link, you are our final hope. The fate of Hyrule rests with you.
That princess was my own daughter. My dear Zelda. And the courageous knight who protected her right up to the very end. That knight was none other than you, Link. You fought valiantly when your fate took an unfortunate turn. And then you were taken to the Shrine of Resurrection. Here you now stand, revitalized 100 years later. The words of guidance you have been hearing since your awakening are from Princess Zelda herself. Even now, as she works to restrain Ganon from within Hyrule Castle, she calls out for your help. However, my daughter's power will soon be exhausted. Once that happens, Ganon will freely regenerate himself, and nothing will stop him from consuming our land. Considering that I could not save my own kingdom, I have no right to ask this of you, Link. But I am powerless here. You must save her, my daughter and do whatever it takes to annihilate Ganon. Somehow, Ganon has maintained control over all 4 divine beasts, as well as those guardians swarming around Hyrule Castle. I believe it would be quite reckless for you to head directly to the castle at this point. I suggest that you make your way east out to one of the villages in the wilderness. Follow the road out to Kakariko Village. There you will find the Elder Impa. She will tell you more about the path that lies ahead. Consult the map on your Sheikah slate for the precise location of Kakariko Village. Make your way past the twin summits of the dueling peaks. From there, follow the road as it proceeds north.
Oh, it looks like he ran out of voice. See, I don't know why they couldn't just have verbal communication instead of text throughout the entire game. I mean, this is 2017. Even in 2003, when Grand Theft Auto, or was it 2001? Whatever year it was, Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. Even in those games, you didn't have to read text. They actually had voice. Some people could argue that that was on a CD and this is just like an SD card, but still, it was like almost 2 decades ago. I think the technology would be up to speed. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of one of my bows. I like to sort them out by pressing the Y button to keep my better ones at the top and the worst ones down at the bottom. I like to use up the worst ones first, so that way when it breaks, I'm upgrading rather than downgrading. As for the weapons, it depends on what I'm fighting. I use different weapons for different enemies. Okay, so first, now that I got my paraglider, I'm going to get some enemies down here. Then I'm going to transport back to that shrine, the last shrine that I beat. I'm going to continue exploring this region. There's more stuff that we get. Whoa, that was close. So you got blue bokoblins and you got the brownish red ones. Blue ones are much tougher. That's a spiked bow club. Those are pretty decent weapons. So I'm going to get rid of my regular Boku clubs. Or what's this other thing? They're both Boku clubs. Okay, I got bokoblin guts. Now those you can use to upgrade if you get the soldier's armor. See, there's different armors and clothing you can get throughout the game, and you can upgrade them with certain items, which we won't be seeing until sometime in the next video. Okay, so now we're going to proceed from the shrine that we last beat. In the next video, I'll be unlocking a fairy fountain, and what you do is you can buy certain armor, certain clothing, and you go to the fairy fountain, and as long as you got the items that you need to upgrade your armor. Whoops. This water down here is really cold. If you land in it, your hearts go down really fast. So I'd recommend probably not landing on it. I just wanted to get it out of my way so I have a little more room. Okay, over here you got a bokoblin. It's really tough. There's a blue one up there, back there. I know they kind of look green, but according to the game specs, they're blue. They're called blue bokoblins. But anyways, not only are they defensively tough, but that particular one has a soldier's broadsword, which is 14 points. So if he hit me one time with that, it'd probably kill me. I want to take on this blue guy first, or this reddish brownish guy first. Nah, I don't need that. Okay, now for the blue one. That's another spot I've died on many times, but that was before I really knew how to fight. I really didn't have the backflip and side hop thing down yet. Okay, I think the one over to the right is usually the more damaged one, but I'm not sure. For all I know, it could be random, but it seems like that's the way they usually do it. Back my first few playthroughs, I used to just run in and start attacking them, and sometimes you get a swinging on me, but if you do the backflip thing or the side hop, then usually you can take them out without getting hurt. Okay, so my Bokobo is badly damaged. Drop it, replace it. Boko Shield, I'll go ahead and drop my pot lid for that one. Now, out of all these swords, some are claymores, which are two-handed swords. They're not as quick as like the broadswords. If you take a broadsword, or like a traveler sword too, is kind of like a broadsword. Those are one-handed swords. You get a lot more swings in quicker that way. Those. Enemy camps over this way. There's different techniques you can use in fighting too. Some of them are really helpful in fighting, others just look cool. box as a stone talus. Get too close to it, it'll jump up and start attacking me or throwing stuff at me. It looks like I avoided it that time. At some point we'll fight a stone talus, but it's early in the game, I don't really want to. Okay, if you see these yellow flowers like here, keep running towards them, they'll keep disappearing. The fifth one, you get a Korok seed. Okay, it looks like I'm starting to have problems with my Joy-Con again. There was I pressed the A button twice before it finally clicked. It was like delayed reaction. This is my third set of Joy-Cons I've had since I got the Switch because I just use it so much. One of the common problems is the drifting problem where the analog stick ends up sticking. They got repair kits where you can repair them yourself, but from what I've recently heard is that you can actually send your Joy-Cons to Nintendo and they will replace them for free. That's something I probably should do with my other two pairs of Joy-Cons. I just got sitting in a drawer. Okay, this stuff here, this brown stuff is bottomless bog. It's like quicksand, you don't want to step in it. But you can do this. See, what are the odds that that would fall out? The game does cheat. I mean, it was in there and it just suddenly went out. I mean, do you think I didn't see that? Occasionally, you'll see the game cheat here and there. And sometimes it really irritates you. What a horrible night to have a curse. Okay, I think I am ready to leave the Great Plateau region. I'm actually doing pretty good on time. Last playthrough, I was like not quite this far from this time frame. I might sit by the fire again. All the enemies we've seen me kill so far are all still dead. They don't respawn until you see a blood moon. And that usually doesn't occur until about 5 hours into the game. I think it's about 5.5 hours. So it'll probably be my third video before we see that. And when that happens, every enemy that has been killed will respawn. Okay, here we go, leaving the Great Plateau region. You know what's cool? Sometimes you find a decayed guardian in water. Okay, let me get rid of these fools first. That choo-choo jelly is... Choo-choo jelly is helpful for upgrades too, but anyways, you see these decayed guardians in water? You can create a cryonis block. Tip them over and get more ancient parts out of them from the bottom. But then you got some of them like this one that's actually stuck into the ground, so you can't tip him over. Another way to tip them over is if you find a metal object, you can use your magnesis to pick it up and knock the guardians over. But there really aren't that many places where I can find metal objects to use. Get rid of another Boko bow, or traveler's bow. Gears and shafts are what we want to find. The springs and screws are a little more common. I hate when they do that. Okay, why is that not working? But I hate it when you're attacking them and they throw their shield up. Because all it's doing is damaging your sword and it's not hurting them any. There's a moblin. I hate it when they swing their weapons like that too. Here's where you use your sledgehammer. Break these ore deposits. And these are the stuff you get out of here are always random. So like the treasure chest, I know exactly what's in them all. But for the ore deposits, they're just, you never know. This is our first shrine outside of the Great Plateau region. I won't be doing a video tomorrow because on Mondays I usually go to bed earlier. I'm usually always more tired on that first day back to work after the weekend. This part right here, you want to turn at the perfect timing. Right when you hit this corner, that's when you want to turn. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, I'll get rid of. Not sure if I want to get rid of the farming hoe or the traveler's claymore. I'll go ahead and get rid of this because I've used it more. Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. The soldier's claymore, it's worth 20. See, if you were to fall into one of those endless pits, you'd end up losing a heart and they'd put you right back to where you were. So it's kind of funny, you could fall off a tower, you'd lose all 3 hearts. But if you were to fall in an endless pit, you just lose 1. Oh, I forgot to mention too, every time you beat a shrine, it refills your heart containers for you. We got 1 spirit orb, we've beaten 5 shrines, we got 4 Korok seeds, 20 rupees. That's what all those numbers mean there. That Xenoblade Chronicles side quest is something that pops up after beating the first shrine outside of the Great Plateau region. I'm not sure why, it just does. Okay, so we're following what the king told us to do. We're heading towards Kakariko Village. We won't make it though this video. It'll be next video sometime when we get there. And we're going to start seeing people here and there. You can talk to them. Sometimes they'll give you a side quest to do and they'll give you rupees for it. Other times they're just annoying. Yeah, green rupees are worth 1, blue rupees are worth 5, red ones are worth 20, purple ones are worth 50, silver ones are worth 100, and the gold ones are worth 300. All the way up and down this river here, you got enemy camps, like there's one right there. But I'm not going to get those until after I get the soldier's armor. There's another Korok seed you can get. Great. No, that's the Dueling Peaks tower. Okay, notice a big boulder and a big rock here, so you know that's going to be a Korok seed. I'm going to do a little bit more here and then we'll stop. Topazes, rubies, ooh, diamond, and sapphires all sell for good. The topazes you can get 180 rupees out of, rubies you can get 210 or 220. The sapphires you can get 260, and the diamonds are worth 500 rupees. Okay, I think that's probably a pretty good stopping point up here. Okay, so in part 2, we're going to be getting Dueling Peaks Tower up there. We're going to keep heading down that way. There's a couple shrines we can get that way, and on the other side of those mountains, we'll see our first stable, which is where we can sell our gemstones that we've collected. And then we'll keep heading up toward, oh, and then we're going to catch a horse. And then we'll keep heading up towards Kakariko Village. Hope you're enjoying the game. See you in the next video.